Good afternoon, all. Can you hear me? And can you see my screen?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear
I
you.
can on my side.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, all. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you on behalf of our ADU Director, Professor Rodney Genga, and the Postgrad Advisor, Dr. Desmond Clenham. My name is Nozuko Makuba, and I'm the Faculty Learning Designer. Thank you for being here with us. And please note that this session is being recorded. Also, please kindly mute your mics and your cameras as well. Since my colleagues and I have taken over this session, the format will be different. This session is designed as a thinking workshop. So we would like it to be a dialogue and a conversation where we share ideas and where we all leave uplifted and having learned from each other. Our topic, as you can see, is on success, the journey, and the work. In the 1980s, Mr. Sipho Hotsticks Mabuse sang a very popular song entitled Burn Out, which sold over 500,000 copies, which was a big feat back then. This took his career as a musician to great heights. He became well known locally and internationally. Unbeknown to all of us, through all this, Mr. Mabuse had dropped out of school in his teens and was yearning to go back. In 2012, at the age of 60 and 45 years after dropping out, he passed matric. People kept asking him why. Why, when he is so talented and so successful as a musician, did he still have to worry about a matric certificate? Mr. Mabuse's response was that he needed the matric certificate to feel complete, so he could feel that he has succeeded in life. This example clearly illustrates to us that success means different things to different people. Every one of us here has a defined set of expectations that guides our development both personally and professionally. These propel us forward, they motivate us, and they inspire us. So this is the format that we're going to follow. My colleague, Ms. Sandra Mape, who heads the psychosocial support team and is an inspiration to students and to some of us here at the ADU, will take you through success and its meaning. This will be followed by Ms. Alma Nodier. Please excuse the birds. I don't know why all of a sudden they're making so much noise. This will be followed by Ms. Alma Nodier, who is a maths lecturer here at ADU and is currently on a postgrad journey herself. Alma will share her journey with us and the lessons she has learned so far. Then my fellow colleague, Dr. Eva Kowalska, a critical thinking lecturer who is passionate about writing, will take us through a writing activity. Ms. Itu Chwane, who's happiest when she mentors and coaches students and currently heads the financial support team, will take us through celebrations of our successes, big or small. Then finally, Ms. Koki Kappa an associate lecturer teaching critical thinking, and a sociolinguist will take your questions and summarize this session for us. Thank you and enjoy this session. And for me, like Denzel, success for me is inner peace. And now over to you, Sandra. And also please note, we are gonna request you to kindly evaluate this session at the end. So I'll post an evaluation form on the chat. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Nozuko. Are you going to hand over or should I continue or start?
Yes, sorry, I said over to you, Sandra. Sorry if you missed that.
Oh, sorry. I think there's a problem with my name.
Okay, thank you.
So hi, everyone. Every now and then my network may cut because I'm just having some Wi-Fi problems. But if it does, I think we need to embrace it. I think, it's the nature of the world we're living in. It's the nature of technology. And I think as human beings, we want to control everything. But it's life, we can't, and I think that inner peace statement that Nozuko posted there, I find that very encouraging, like to find peace and calm in the storm of Wi-Fi disconnections and online learning and the anxiety, to just find peace in that and saying, look, it is what it is, and I'm fully embracing that. So with that said, I think I'll just get right into it. We're not going to be me talking at you. We're having a dialogue. And I think, as Nozuko said, this is going to be a very interactive session. This is your space to speak your truth. It's your space to, basically, let's talk. It's not about us talking at you as experts. It's us sharing the space with you and having a dialogue. And a dialogue needs two parties, right? So let's get right into it. So if we think about success, what comes to mind? Right? So can I ask that those who'd like to share, please, if you could unmute your mic and just go for it. Like the first thing that comes to mind when I say success, without thinking too much about it. You're free to use the chat as well. If you're comfortable with that, like let's type it in there. Success, what is coming into mind? Like quickly, don't think about it. Like what is success? When you hear the word success, what comes to mind? What do you think of? What's the first thing? Come guys, let's get our fingers ready to type and type and type. Or can I please have a volunteer? I don't want to pick on people, but I will, because this is an interactive session. It's not to pick on anyone. There's no right or wrong answer. We are having a dialogue. Get our energies up. Let's gloom. What does success mean? Yes, go for it.
Yes, for me, success is great hall.
Yes, sorry, I missed that. So if you said for you, success is?
When I say success, what comes to my mind is great hall.
Great hall. That's the picture you're seeing.
Yes.
And then can you attach some other words to that visual? We all love great hall, but can you attach some words to me? So what else, when you say great hall, what are you seeing? Because people associate great hall different.
No, great hall with conquering the edge.
Etc. So when you see, so you're seeing yourself conquering the edge. So for you, success is that it's basically conquering the edge. For other people, we have some. Yes, go for it. Continue.
Yeah, when I saw that Q, when I saw Q on my transcript, for me that was success, and I don't think anything will ever beat that.
So it was a feeling of hashtag Mama, I've made it.
Yes, I even called my ancestors that I've made it.
Yes.
So for me, that was a success.
No, thank you for sharing that. And I think for many of us, I think it's such a warm feeling. Like when we think of this, we do think of like the graduation hat. All of us think of that because that's what this advertises a lot, and that's what we attach. And you want to be in that video and to be among those people with the sparkly, whitey, pearly teeth, smiling. We all attach great hall, or some of us. And I think, thank you for sharing that. And if we look in the chat there, people are talking about, in terms of what success means for them, people are talking about, happiness is what success means for them. How many of us feel that this is true? Other people are talking about wealth. I mean, that's a very interesting take. Success means wealth. Do you mind, maybe adding a bit more meat to that? Like when you talk about wealth, How are you qualifying that? Or what kind of wealth? Are we talking monetary wealth? By wealth there. For Itabile, success means lots of money. I love that, guys. And we need to own it. We shouldn't be shy. Some of us, and I'm one of those people, we just want to have a house of our own, and some of us just want to be able to just to bowl in life and to enjoy, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what success means for you, right? Other people saying being comfortable. I think that's interesting. Tembelisa, would you like to elaborate on that? Like when you say being comfortable, what do you mean by that? In what way?
Being comfortable in the sense that I have everything that I want. I can literally get anything that I want. Everything is easy. If I want something, I can literally, it's just, a thing of me getting it, even if it's just someone needing my help. The fact that I can do it, they know that, okay, if I go to Tembelise and I ask for this, I'm actually going to get it. So the comfortability of knowing that actually, I feel like I have everything that I want right now. So just being comfortable, like everything that I need and want at that point.
Would you say it's the same as being content as well?
Yes, but also being content with the amount of, let's say, money, being comfortable with the money that you have, knowing that it can get you everything that you need. So yeah, we can.
No, I love this, guys. I totally, I'm like, amen, preach, I think those are all things, admirable things that we all aspire to, like peace, and we qualify peace differently. Sometimes it's peace because you don't have financial strain, and that's a real thing, given our society, given our background, some of us, given just in our lives. And maybe success means just being comfortable, being self-sufficient, being able to decide, like having the power to choose whether I want to help or I actually can, or whether I want to travel, I can't, as compared to being forced to, or being forced to live in a particular situation. So I think those are very powerful ways, to think about and visualize around the idea of success. Another comment we have there is rest, and it's almost similar, like the things people are saying, the sense I'm getting is like almost being able to take a deep breath, like that's what success means for people. And I think it sort of echoes what my colleague Nozuko began the session with, right? So I would ask, are you now, if this is what you guys are saying success means for you, do you feel that you're successful right now? And if so, why not? So if success is restfulness, if success is being comfortable, having the power to choose, if success means having lots of money, if success means wealth, in whatever way you're qualifying that, if success means happiness, are you successful right now? And if so, why not? And maybe to add to that, to think through this is what you would need to become successful. What would it take for you to feel that you're successful? Do we have any takers, any people who would like to grace us with their vocals on the mic? Please, guys, don't be afraid of the unmute button. Are you successful right now?
I'm not. I feel like I'm not, because there are other things that I can't do because I don't have the means to actually do them, even if I have the means to do other things, but not what I actually want to do. Like I can't travel right now. I can't just wake up today and decide, no, I want to have lunch in Cape Town, So I can't do that because also I'm constantly working. There's no rest. So right now it's like I'm trying to work towards my success. So right now it's just me trying to work and build up my success. So no, I don't think I am successful, but I'm getting there. I'm working towards being successful. And yes, I'm appreciating the small wins, the great haul. Yes, it's very much appreciated. What I'm doing, what I'm currently doing, I'm appreciating that because yes, it is opportunities that are leading me to where I want to be. So I'm not yet there, but I'm heading there.
And if I could stretch the temperature, what is stopping you from being there?
Nothing actually, but at the moment I'm studying. So when I'm studying sorry? Okay. So at the
Yes,
moment
go
I'm
for it.
studying.
I'm listening. I'm deeply listening.
So at the moment I'm studying, and obviously, let's say I have a stipend. That stipend, I can only do as much with it, you know? So that's why I'm saying, okay, fine, we're not successful as yet, but we are heading there. You
No, I think
know,
that's a fair point. And I think I would put it back to everyone to say, but what is stopping you from living your best life now, guys? Right?
now,
And
money.
what
Me, the
I'm
only thing
challenging and
stopping
pushing
me
that
from
envelope,
living
right?
my
Because we
best
all have
life right
aspirations.
now. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the only thing that's stopping me from living my best life right now is money. So,
But you see, what we need to qualify what that best life is, because
as
I
I
would say, even
said,
if you want to travel, right?
yes,
That's what you said, the
please.
choice to
I want to
travel.
wake up and be like, I feel like having lunch in Cape Town, and I just fly down to Cape Town to have lunch. I want to be comfortable. Right now, I feel like it's just, yes, the comfort is there for where I am right now, but it's not where I say I want to be. I wouldn't consider myself successful. That I consider myself as working towards my successful self.
No, thank you so much for sharing, Tembelihle. And I think most of us feel that way. It's like we've have this aspiration, and I think even for the colleagues of and all of us who are in this room, we all have plans. Retirement. I'm going to buy a small house and live in a houseboat. I'm going to just get a few sheep and I'm going to raise cattle. We all have these dreams. And I think if you're really honest with yourself and you really can face that in yourself, to actually realize that there's nothing stopping you from being the best and living your best life now. It might not be to the extent you wanted, but even in the small ways, there's nothing stopping you from being and doing what it is you want. And I would even say, why wait for retirement? Why wait till you're old and you can't actually do anything? Exhausted and you spent your best years to industry and giving it away to others, that you're so fatigued you can't actually live and enjoy and do all the crazy things you wanted to do at a young age. And I think if you really looked at it, so for instance, the things you want to do, people talk about, I want to make a change sometimes in my community, or I want to do this, or I want to travel. I would challenge and say, but what is stopping you from doing that now? And if you're not able to travel now, what makes you think that when you begin working, you'll be able to travel? Because with work comes commitments, comes deadlines, comes all sorts of things. Yes, you'll have income. That's what comes with expenditures. It comes with medical aid. It comes with a lot of other things. And if you're not taking the steps now to actualize your dreams and to own and to grab your success, to fetch your success, guys, no one is going to fetch it for you. So to the person who's saying they want to travel, I would say travel now. You might not be able to go to Paris maybe, but look for opportunities. Go for research, there's fellowships. Apply for a grant, apply for a talk, apply for a seminar, like go and travel, whatever. There's all pairing opportunities, exchange programs. There's so many different ways and things you could tap into to actualize the dream and the success that you want to achieve in your life, or some level of comfort. Might not be all the way, but some level of movement. If you're saying your studies are taking up your time, then let's talk about your time management so you can actually live. Because the point of life, guys, is not just to study. Studying is meant to activate and actualize something. It's a tool for something, for livelihood, right? But it cannot be that your whole entire life is taken up by your job or taken up by your studies. Yes, it's a huge component, but what is stopping you from living your best years now? I want to give back. What is stopping you from doing that? The person who's saying, I want to open a business to make money. What is stopping you from doing that now? Yes, there's degree requirements and stuff. But if you really want to push the envelope and to say, are you giving your best in the current situation? Are you pushing yourself 100%? If you are a bottle that carries 200 mils or 500 or a liter bottle, are you completely emptying that capacity and that potential out? And if you're honest with yourself, you realize that maybe I'm not, or maybe I'm putting too much energy somewhere where it should not be. So, and this is something we can discuss further. You can come speak to me because I've got very limited time. The point is, there's literally nothing stopping you from living your best life now. And if you don't fetch your success, no one is going to fetch it for you. So, an example of traveling, I always had dreams of traveling, but it never happened. Like since I was a student, I wished I could travel, right? And that's why I decided that because it's lockdown, I decided to uproot my entire family and myself to travel because I realized it was never going to happen. if I didn't take ownership of it, if I didn't take steps to actualize my dreams, they will always they would never come into my reality. So in terms of success, and on the subject of success, is what are you doing? What does success mean to you? Right? And that's a very personal thing. And what is stopping you from exploring? What is stopping you from owning that success and taking ownership in the way that you can right now, in terms of your situation, in terms of your, what is stopping you from actualizing that? And having the rest that you guys are talking about. People are talking about wealth. There's different levels of wealth. Wealth is something that you grow like a seed or a plant. You're not going to just happen like winning a lotto. Boom, one day you're going to have lots of money. What is stopping now as a student in terms of maybe investment or taking small incremental steps? What makes you think you're going to be wealthy when you start working? Because your expenditures also increase. I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense to you guys. You don't have, people could say in the chat, if you disagree or not, but there's nothing stopping you from living your best life now and from you owning and from you actualizing your success story. I think that's where I'm going to park it, and I'll hand over to my colleague.
Thank you so much, Sandra. We're going to ask Alma to please step in right now.
Hi, everyone. I'm assuming you can hear me.
Yes, we can, Alma. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will be sharing my journey with you today. And this means this part of the workshop will be less of a dialogue, but I will be open to questions and comments at the end. So for now, bear with me for about 10 minutes. So yeah, today I have the privilege of sharing my postgraduate journey with you, in the hopes of encouraging a few with you and maybe also to remind myself how far I've come. So I started studying BSc Mathematics and Psychology in 2012 at NWU. Now I know the reaction to this information very well. Mathematics and psychology. Now what is it that you want to do with this combination? Help people that have been traumatized by math? So to tell you the truth, I had no idea. I like to believe most people arrive at university having no real idea what the field of study they signed up for entails or what the jobs that stem from it entail. I think I decided on that field of study because I somewhat knew I liked mathematics. And I thought by adding psychology to the mix, this would enable me to do mathematics and still work with people. But to be honest, I didn't do a lot of research regarding job opportunities, and I kind of thought this will figure itself out in the end. Now, fast forward to my third year, which is your final year if you're a BSc student. I now needed to have some idea of the career I wanted to pursue, and I didn't. I did, however, realize that these two diverse fields had very little common ground, and that I would have to decide on either maths or psychology going forward. I chose mathematics. It was an easy choice. I think a couple of years prior, mathematics already chose me, and I only realized this somewhere in my third year at university. But that was all I knew at that stage, is that mathematics was the right choice for me, but what the journey from there would be was still an entire open question. So the next year, this brings us to 2015, I was enrolled for an honors degree in mathematics, myself and only one other brave candidate. And during this year, I learned why mathematicians are so few and far in between. So the jump from mathematics at undergraduate level and postgraduate level was quite extensive, and learning to write mathematics was by far the most challenging part of that year. By the grace of God, I was presented the opportunity to join forces with an excellent supervisor at the very start of my postgraduate studies. And little did I know that 7 years later and 3 degrees down the line, we would still be a team. But this meant I learned from the best straight away, which was wonderful and terrible all at the same time. His excellent guidance and high standards could have no other effect than me improving and evolving as a researcher, which of course is an unpleasant process at times. So somewhere in the middle of a very busy and challenging year, I had to decide on what it is that I'm going to do after I've completed my honours degree. Now, having to decide this while being tied to the bone and in over my head was very difficult. Emotions spoke louder than facts, and since there were no obvious job opportunities that arose after completing my first postgraduate degree, I couldn't see the point of doing another one. Nonetheless, a choice had to be made, and since a master's degree in mathematics was my best option, I went for it. Thanks to the hard work we did with my research project during my honours degree, which was accompanied by several modules that also had to be juggled, I was able to complete my master's dissertation in the following 2 years. And thanks to the skills I attained whilst being thrown into the deep end during my honours degree, my master's degree was an absolute breeze. This made it possible for me to form part of some of the activities in the Department of Mathematics at NWU. And I did everything. I did everything from being a marker, a tutor, running the mathematics center they have there, presenting refresher courses, and being a part-time lecturer. And once I gained some insight into the workings of a lecturer and learned that my way of teaching is well received by students, the career I should pursue became as clear as daylight. And this made a PhD in mathematics an easy choice. So this brings me to my current degree, a PhD in mathematics that I started back in 2018. So this will then be my 4th year and hopefully my final year. It's been a fruitful journey this far, comprising of several publications and conferences attended and presented at. But of course, COVID slowed us down, causing me in part to miss my first 2 deadlines for submission. Note that COVID cannot take all the blame. Research is unpredictable. And therefore, as I near the end of this degree, I've come to realize that a good researcher isn't set on what the outcome should look like, but knows to let their research be. This year marks a particularly special year in my journey. I started working at WITS as a lecturer of mathematics in the academic development unit. And after many years of wondering where this road will lead me, I'm relieved to have learned that I've been on the right track right from the start, and I couldn't be happier with where I am now. So as I near my deadline, the wonderful and terrible days that make up any postgraduate degree journey are more highlighted and more amplified than ever. Hence, this might be the best time for me to share with you the life lessons this journey has taught me, as I'm currently feeling the pressure and fatigue and are therefore prone to tell it as it is. The first lesson: you will never regret following your heart and your passion, even if that means dealing with or tolerating some unanswered questions for a while. Number 2, some choices need to be made before you are ready to make them. Number 3, allow yourself to be a beginner. Number 4, what a privilege it is to learn. Even though the process is tough and lonely at times, we must never allow ourselves to forget this. Number 5, chances are your supervisor knows best. 6, you cannot run without learning how to walk first. Therefore, do not underestimate the basics or doubt the process. 7, a successful day can have many descriptions, but an unsuccessful day only one, and that is I failed to try. 8, know when to rest. Burnout is not a badge of honor, and nothing is worth sacrificing your health for. 9, learn from your mistakes. You'll be making a lot of them, which means there will be ample opportunity to learn. Let them make you better. Number 10, make use of every opportunity that comes your way. Even if this means presenting your work at some conference where you know you will feel out of depth from the word go, do it anyway. If you allow your feelings of inadequacy to get the upper hand on you, you will pass on every opportunity to get better. 11, never forget where you came from and the emotions that accompanied every season of your journey, so that when the opportunity presents itself, you will choose to be an encourager of students in your field. 12, and this one I slipped in here especially for myself. However long the night, the dawn will break. This means even though every fiber of your being is convinced that your day of submission will never come, it will. 13, motivation for the most part must come from within. Even the best supporters cannot accompany you and cheer you on every step of the way. There will be times where you are alone and your motivation for doing this will be put to the test. 14, some good advice. When eating an elephant, take one bite at a time and do not choke on its tail. 15, let facts guide your decision making. Emotions are good, but they are not good leaders. 16, do not underestimate the skills that you gain from your struggles. 17, be thankful towards those who suffer alongside you. Though this journey is lonely, it would be impossible without a support structure. 18, enjoy life and all it has to offer, even during your craziest season. Remember, life is still happening and carrying on for all those around you. And if you're struggling to find the balance now, you will struggle to find it after completing your degree. 19, celebrate at the top of every hill you've climbed, despite the fact that there are still many more hills left to climb. 20, be a good ambassador for your field of expertise, even to amateurs. 21, hindsight is the perfect science. Do not be hard on yourself for not progressing faster. You didn't know then what you know now. And the last one, give credit where credit is due, whether that be a fellow student, a colleague, your supervisor, a friend or family member. Remember, we can go much further if we go together. So I hereby challenge you to reflect a bit on your journey up to here, and I wish you the best of luck with the remainder of your postgraduate journey. So before I hand over to my colleague, are there any questions?
Hi, everyone. You can type your questions into the chat as well if you don't want to voice them out, and I will read them out for Alma. It's Cookie, by the way.
Thank you very much, Alma. If you have questions for Alma, you can also ask them at the end. So we're just gonna request Eva to please start with her presentation. Thanks.
Thanks, Nozuko. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Eva. My background is in literary studies in English. Now I teach English and critical thinking with the academic development unit. I don't know so much about success, and I think my colleagues have covered that amply. But I do know a fair bit about the work that goes into postgraduate study or earning a postgraduate degree. And I know that no matter your field of research, a large part of that work is writing. And it's the writing up of your research that really constitutes what the university likes to term horridly the deliverable, right? The finished product, the measurable thing. It's your dissertation or your thesis or your report or articles that you might publish. So your research is largely writing, and writing is an important part of your research. And it's important if you think a little bit more about that, because reading and writing are the primary modes of expression and communication in the academic world. In university and in academia more broadly, we read and write about each other's work, to each other's work, back and forth across, departments, across universities, across countries, across decades, and sometimes even generations of researchers. Sometimes we write back and forth across fields or disciplines. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we dissent, but all those conversations happen to a large extent through text, through reading and writing. And that's the discourse, really, the conversation, both within academia and the academic space and within your discipline, your professional kind of discipline that you're pursuing. That's the conversation your work enters and engages through your research. And if you think back from where you started studying to where you are now and where you're going to be, from your very first essay or assignment or report or whatever it is in undergrad in your first year, through to your PhD or your postdoctoral work or your research work thereafter even, if you pursue that, or your professional writing, if you choose to go into industry, you're part of the reading and writing as well as the practice of your professional discipline or your field of study. And sometimes I think, particularly if the research itself, the field work or the lab work is quite technical, or it's quite concerned with abstract things or with non-verbal things, right? Things removed from writing up in books and libraries and that kind of stuff. We come to see the work and the writing as quite separate entities, as quite separate things. I suppose that's kind of a natural split and there's not much for it, but I would suggest that it might be better to keep the two not so far apart, but to think of them as two parts of the same thing, right? The process as well as the product, the investigation as well as the writing up of your work, and to integrate them as much as possible, to keep your writing close to the work you're doing and not defer it as a sort of afterthought to your research. I think if this can be done, it might make the writing, the finished product of your research, stronger. It might make it more immediate, it might make it more engaging, more vivid, more detailed, and more confident, and that's important as well. One way to do this, I would suggest, is to remember that reading and writing always go together, and to do them both and to do them often. As much as you can, as often as you can. Write down your responses to questions about what you hear, what you read, what you see, what you discover, either in classes or in labs or outside of them in your own personal study. Make notes as you work, not after you work. And perhaps most importantly, write to others about your work, how it's going, what is challenging, what is interesting. Write to colleagues, write to supervisors, and kind of share that. Because while we tend to think of the writing up of research and say an article or a chapter or something like that as a kind of summary of the facts of what you sought out to find or check and what you have found, it isn't really that. It's also what you find interesting and what you find challenging and what drives you to pursue your field of research that will engage people reading your work. So don't separate yourself too far from what you're writing about. These are just some ideas, and everybody finds a practice that works for them. But I thought, in the spirit of writing often and not leaving it for later, right? Don't go to the class and then reflect on it, but write in the moment. And of using writing as a way of focusing your ideas and your thoughts about what you're doing and finding clarity and confidence in explaining your work We're going to do a quick frame sentence exercise. So everybody grab a pen and paper. I'm sure you have one somewhere, or just open a Word document or something so that you can write. If you didn't bring stationery, I'm going to put a sentence in the chat with some blank parts, with some parts missing. All right, let me just type that up quickly. I can't seem to type and talk at the same time. And then I'll tell you what we're going to do. All right, that should show up in your chat now. 3 fragments of an incomplete sentence, right? I am writing about or researching something in order to show how or why something, so that my reader can see the significance of something, right? So what I'd like you to do while I finish up chatting to you, you can do this while I talk, is thinking about your own research wherever you are with it right now, whether you're just starting out or you're midway or you're writing about a particular section or you're writing a proposal, whatever it is. Using your own work where you are with it now, fill in the blanks in that sentence, right? And see how it comes out. And I'll just explain while you do that. And colleagues, please also, you're very welcome to join in and write a frame sentence for your research wherever you are now with it. Sorry, that was just a helicopter going overhead. I don't really know why. So fill in the blanks in the sentence, thinking about your own research. And you can think about the entire project, like your entire master's or PhD project, if you want. Or you can think about and write the sentence about just a particular chapter that you're working on, or even a smaller subsection or a smaller argument or a smaller problem within your larger project, or perhaps you're looking at an idea for a possible article. You could think about it in those terms as well. And this is a kind of a nice exercise to do for yourself, or a nice starting point if you're stuck or unsure, if you're writing up a little bit of work. If you're thinking about the whole thing, whole project, this is quite a good way to come up with a very clear, simple explanation that you can give to people outside of your discipline. I'm sure we've all had the experience of earnestly explaining the complexities of our chosen topic of research to people outside of our departments or disciplines, and getting completely blank responses in return. But the sentence can give you a nice, simple, succinct summary that you can use in those instances. It's also useful for proposals because it really puts the broader work into perspective. Whereas if you're writing this thinking of maybe a smaller part, like a chapter or an article, it's also very useful to focus in on introductions or abstracts, which are notoriously difficult bits of research to write. So it's useful to focus your ideas, to get them in order, to put the parts of what you're doing in relation to one another. And then, of course, you can elaborate and break it up and write it more eloquently or more nicely. But I find it's a useful thing to do, and I thought to share it with you as a kind of useful tool when you do sit down to write up any little bits of your work or the whole thing. All right, so that's enough of me talking, and you've had a good couple of minutes to fill in that frame sentence. Would anybody like to read their sentence out to the rest of us and see how it's turned out? Tell us a little bit about your research in one sentence. Volunteers? Colleagues? All right. If you don't want to speak, does anybody want to type their sentence into the chat?
I can give it a go.
Yes.
My sentence is, I am writing about the topless protest in order to show how the popular narrative lacked depth and victimized the protesters, so that my reader can see the significance of an intersectional perspective. So my research is, it's about a bunch of things, but this particular sentence is about one of the chapters in my dissertation, which is about the topless protest that happened on campus in 2016, 2017, and how I responded to that protest, and how I looked at how the media responded to the protest. So yeah, that's just the context of the sentence. Done.
Thank you. That's great. And I really like how you're telling us about what it is that draws you to a particular topic and how you respond to what you write about. I think often in academia, we are, or at least we were, students encouraged to leave ourselves out of our work, our chapters, our publications. And I think sometimes that can be limiting. Thanks for that. Anybody else want to share? All right, then I'll take that as a no. If you change your mind, or if you're still writing and would like to share later, by all means, pop your sentences into the chat, so we can all admire your eloquence and the depth and interest of your research. Please don't be shy to share. This is what I mean about, writing to others about your research and becoming part of a dialogue, which is really just a small part of a bigger discourse. You're very, very welcome to share your ideas in the chat, even if you're feeling too shy to read them out. All right, that's it for me then. Thank you very much, everyone. And I will now hand over to Itu.
Sure. Thank you so much, Eva, and good afternoon to everyone. I hope I'm audible. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Koki. Yeah, so I guess all the formal greetings have actually been done on our behalf by our facilitator, Nozuko. And yeah, and I think all the protocols were observed. And so with that, I just want to say thank you to all the speakers that came before me, my fellow colleagues, and also just to everyone in this conversation today, just for the opportunity to share my bit as well. I think I have a more, can I say, easier task today, or maybe also a less serious as well task today. So I think in the past week, we actually requested all the postgraduate students in the faculty to submit a photo of themselves as well as a short description of their achievements. And I think this is just some part of an initiative in the faculty where we are trying to celebrate our big and small successes as we make progress in our different ventures. So I think we found this to be quite important, particularly in the time that we find ourselves in, where it has become quite difficult to really kind of try and celebrate anything at all. So also I think this initiative, as much as it's still in its initial stage, could also help strengthen the unity in the EPE postgraduate community, and through the exchange of inspiration and motivation reinforcement going forward, we will work together. I think, as Alma said earlier on, that we can go much further if we go together. So thank you very much to everyone who has participated in this first video. And I'd just like to ask everybody else to just kind of help me congratulate our postgraduates for their various achievements. I'm going to share a video that we have compiled from all the photos that you have submitted. Let me just allow my computer to run through. I think it's here.
Sorry, Utu, the sound is not playing.
Is the sound not on?
The sound's not on.
Okay, let me try it again. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, I think that's all. Yeah, so congratulations once again to all our postgraduate students, and also I think congratulations to other students as well that haven't been able to share their photos and achievements with us. I understand that this is the first time we are doing this. And perhaps maybe just share in the chat there, would you like this sort of thing maybe to continue? I see people are clapping there. Yes, thank you very much. But if you'd like this to continue, maybe also just share in the chat box there if you'd like this to continue. But yeah, so congratulations to everyone else. And yeah, please going forward, could we please see more submissions, because it'll be really great to kind of celebrate that first or second or third paper that you've just published, or maybe just you having just opened a company or a non-profit organization that you are doing on the side, or maybe you've just launched a book or an app. I think that's worth a recognition. And I think going forward, we'd like to see more of that. Yeah, so thank you very much to everyone. Over to you, Koki.
Thank you so much, Itu. Congratulations to everyone in the video, and like Itu said, who also didn't send through their stuff. It's so important for us to have some kind of celebration and acknowledgement, because even if we're doing what we feel we should be doing, what we're supposed to be doing, excuse me, it's still important to give yourself that pat on the back, be excited and be like, yes, because even if you feel like you should be doing it, that moment of success is an indicator that you are on the right path. You are putting in the work. So to wrap up, I would just like to say a couple of things from what everyone has said. So figuring out what success means to you is important, and reflecting on that regularly, because your sense of success can change as you change, right? So if maybe success for you is getting that degree, what then once you've gotten the degree, right? Or maybe something happened and you change your perspective, you have different values now, so your definition of success can change. So it's important for us to be reflective and to know what it is that we're doing and why, right? Also, one of the main things that stuck out for me from Alma's talk was to trust the process, right? So I think that phrase, trust the process, which Alma did say, covers it sort of is a banner for the lessons that she shared with us. So having to make some decisions having to be made before you're ready to make them. If you are trusting in the process, you know that those decisions must be made whether you're ready or not. So you can like buckle down and buckle down and make the decisions, but also doing things even if you're afraid, right? So we have a lot of talk about things like imposter syndrome, right? And figuring out how to work through that. And the idea of doing it anyway, right? Trusting the process is a nice sort of mantra to have to help you through doing whatever it is that you need to do in your everyday life. And lastly, from Eva, what I think we should constantly be thinking about all the time is the relationship between reading and writing, right? They go together. You become a better writer by reading more, right? And you become a better writer by writing more. So all the time, we need to have this kind of mindfulness around the process of writing as thinking, right? And the role that reading plays in that. And in actual sum, so to wrap everything up, there's a point that Eva made that I think is very reflective of this whole session and the ADU postgrad support in general. And that is the point about the importance of community, right? So having a support network. Eva said, when you're doing your work, it's helpful to talk about it with other people. So if you're having difficulties, whether you're sharing that with your supervisor, your friends, your family, or maybe even like a small research group or something, it's important, and as a postgrad myself, it is important to build a community, a support network that will be there for you and will help you. And that is what Desmond is trying so hard to build with the ADU, with the ADU postgraduate support. But the idea of creating community is something that the ADU in general cares about. And we hope that you feel that in these sessions that we have with you, and that you will also give back and participate in that community. So thank you, everyone, for attending the session. Thank you to all my colleagues for coming through and sharing their knowledge and wisdom with us. And thank you to Desmond for organizing. And lastly, to all of you for attending. I hope that you will have a brilliant evening and a good rest of the year. Over to you, Desmond.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Desmond, you're not coming through.
Can you hear?
It's a bit patchy.
Is it getting better now?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Okay, I think that I just first of all want to thank the team I think it is Dr. Kwejuri Agri that said, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. And I know it can be very controversial to make such a statement, but I kindly subscribe to this. I just want to thank the entire team. I want to thank Nozuko for putting the whole team together. I also want to thank Sandra for her comments and leading the discussion on what success is, a very subjective topic, but she dealt with it, being who she is and how meticulous she goes about helping students unravel some of these things. And I also want to use that opportunity to thank Alma. I've been taking notes from everything. It's sometimes good to sit back and just take notes from people that have gone ahead and people that are doing what they are doing. And also want to thank our writing expert, Dr. Eva Kowalska, and then thank Itu Meleng, and then Koki for putting these whole things together, and also to thank the rest of the members that are at the background, my own boss, Mike, and Professor Genga for doing this. And I think Koki highlighted the point that we want to create a community of practice, which is very, very important. One other thing that we want to do going forward is we want to have a VIT engineering review, a newsletter, so that some of us can put some of these things into practice. Maybe one day I will tell you how the Harvard Law Review came about. If we can start doing this, then the idea is that we then help students to begin to put their skills to use so that people can become editors, and then we can use that to develop a community of practice for the PhD students, for the masters, and then for the honors student. So that this will be sending you this thing so that you can actually help us build this community, because united we stand, divided we fall. And so it's very important that we do this in that same spirit. And having also said that, I just want to say that these things that we are doing, please, your comment, your suggestions are very important so that we can fine-tune these things to making sure that our students are getting the best. We're just not here to help you just do your research. We also, as social animals as we are, we hope that we can create a platform that will grant us our ability to be able to interact, even if we can meet on a face-to-face basis. So it is on this note that we're doing what we're doing. And so please, I welcome you all. I will send an email to all students. We want people to moderate some of these sessions, to become MCE so that you develop your presentation skills. The next phase of what we are going to do is people would come and share their work with us, and then they'll be giving constructive criticisms. We want to do this so that we develop a VIT postgraduate that is well sharpened, fine-tuned to be able to face the socioeconomic challenges that are out there and be able to prescribe relevant solutions so that at the end of it all, we can be what we are meant to be. Because it's Goethe who said, look at a man for what he is, he only becomes worse. Look at him for what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. When I see a VIT postgraduate, I don't see a student. I see a professional that is able to lead, and lead from a place of knowledge, lead from a position of experience. So I just want to thank you all for making time for today, and looking forward to seeing you next week. Please, if you are interested in becoming part of this, and so that you can become someone that will moderate a session or introduce a speaker and take all these things, please do send me an email, but I will send the email. One other thing that we also we'll be talking about is to look at if we have to move from a Thursday to a Wednesday, because some have sent me emails and raised those concerns. So please, we've had them. We will send a survey shortly to you. And please let us be involved in all this so that at least we can make VITS a better place, and also make your life one that you'll be proud of. And you know that the ADU, the Academic Development Unit, is there for you. All the people that spoke today, all the people that led various sessions, they are people that works within the Academic Development Unit, people that you can interact with, people that will help you get to where you want to go. They say success leave trails, and if you are going to make it, it's good that people that have gone through that journey, you'll be able to talk to them, glean knowledge, glean wisdom from their experience and use it for this journey. On this note, I want to thank you all for coming. Next week, we are having the CEO of Tshimolohong present talking to us. Please, these are some of the opportunities that we are trying to create for our students, so that actually by interacting with this person, you will also be on your way to getting your next job. Not that I'm promising you jobs, but by interacting with some of these people, it gives you access to them. The last week of August, we'll be talking to one of the finest professors that have graced the surface of the earth. And it is through one of such webinars that I got in contact with her. And now we formed good bond and good relationship that is taking us to the next level. So please just invite someone, talk to people, and just go back. We're recording this, go back to the video, listen to it, and take knowledge from here. On this note, I want to thank you all once again for coming. I want to thank the panelists. I want to thank the people who took care of the workshop, and says that kudos to everyone. And then please, in everything that you do, it is my belief that I will hope to see you at the top. And I'm looking forward to see you at the top. And when we get to the top, we will get some coffee. On this note, thank you for coming, and looking forward to seeing you next week. Bye, everyone.